Leadership is a fascinating aspect of human life. I believe that all of us are leaders in some respect, at least in leading ourselves. But as leaders, we know that. And being part of a dynamic leadership environment, being part of a dynamic church, I've seen a lot of effective and ineffective leadership styles. Oftentimes, effective leadership attributes towards having a lot of experience, and ineffectiveness leads to a lack of experience. But out of all the leadership styles I've seen, is these four attributes are prevalent in their lives. Is being humble, being accountable, being truthful, and also being teachable. But there's something else that I've discovered a couple of years ago. And I want to tell you a story. One of my colleagues came to me, and he's heading up the men's ministry in our campus, and he needs to collaborate with all the other departments within the church so that we can have an effective men's ministry. And he came to me and he said the following, that he knows that this ministry can be more effective, and it's not running at the current capacity that he's envisioning for it. He said that he knows he's called towards leading this ministry, but for some reason he lacks the motivation to lead this ministry more effective. And then he said the following, he feels that threatened by me being there because he feels that I can do it better because I've got the right personality. And he's asking the question, why he's there. So we had this conversation where he's saying, where he's actually sharing his heart, telling me some of his perceptions and some of his personal battles. So what I learned from this conversation is that one can be vulnerable with the leaders around you. Although he shared his insecurities or his personal battles with me, I was taken aback by his vulnerability and his willingness to share his heart. And it's as if this man was willing to put aside all these insecurities, all these personal battles, and not allow these things to get in the way of his greater calling, the calling that God placed on his life. And in this conversation, we could sort out all these perceptions on his side. But what motivated me and was motivational about that whole situation is that I actually wanted to make and help him succeed in his calling. I was motivated to see his calling fulfilled. I was motivated to help and understand him better so that I can support him more effectively. I saw a man almost embarrass himself in front of me by being very vulnerable. But I didn't see it as an embarrassment. I saw it as someone being a true leader, knowing that he cannot do everything by himself, knowing that there's something standing in the way. And by being vulnerable, not only was he motivated in his passions for what he needs to fulfill, but I was also motivated as a leader to live in support of his mission. And that vulnerability was actually the catalyst for us to work more effectively and to build an effective ministry. So what I see in leadership is not only being a visionary leader and being strong and always knowing all the answers, but actually being in a place where I'm humble enough and vulnerable enough to share what I'm going through, what I'm struggling through. And by doing that, we truly show real leadership in including people in the process. And actually, I'm moving myself out of the way of God's calling, and I'm actually looking forward to what He wants to achieve through my life and in this world. Maybe I learned that we need to identify what we need to achieve, what's the things that's causing me not to achieve it, and then go at it and do the thing that we are called to. But what I learned is that through being vulnerable, we can actually motivate ourselves, stir up passion in the people around us so that we can be more effective as leaders. So may you be a leader who not only are trustworthy, not only humble, but someone that's vulnerable, because your vulnerability will be able to ignite something in your organization that will make people part of the greater mission of God, taking yourself out of the way and looking towards the greater reward.